진짜? 그렇게 무거워?
응.
설마. 봐봐. 우와. 슬리도 들어봐 이거.
색깔이 노란색이라서 안 보이네.
아, 여기구나. 뭐야?
사슴아.
엄마 이거 빨리 찾아야지.
야, 저로 나가보자.
딱 맞아. 딱 맞아.
완전 크면 무츠가 제일 크구나. 응? 어디?
그냥 뜨는 게 아니었네.
야.
This is a black-billed magpie, and this is a bird. This is a bird that we find throughout the park. When the pictures make their way around, you can just make a pile, and I'll pick them up at the end. Black-billed magpies are very flashy birds. One of the birds that we get the most questions about because they're bigger. They've got these bright, shiny blue and gray or blue and green wings, bright white chest, black all over. So they're very flashy birds. They're very easy to spot. These guys are social, they're curious, they're pretty intelligent, and they love to eat. And they love to eat everything. Seeds, grasses, berries, nuts, people food, so please store your food properly. They also eat carrion. Does anybody know what carrion is? Dead stuff. They eat dead stuff. So they'll eat dead mice and dead lizards. They'll sneak in if a grizzly is feeding on an elk. They'll sneak in and they'll steal some of that. So they eat a wide variety of things. And while they eat those things, they eat things that can't go all the way through. Things they can't digest. Like fingernails or claws, hair, bones, teeth. What do you think they do with them? If it can't go all the way through, what do they do with it? Yeah.
They barf it out.
They barf it up, they cough up pellets, just like an owl does. So these guys cough up pellets just like an owl does. We can find them throughout the park. A great place to look for them is actually in our parking lot here in Moose. So now that we know where we are, let's move a little bit south to North America's largest waterfowl, the trumpeter swan. These guys live here year-round. Pass that around. And they like to nest in our area. We often see them in open water areas that are quiet because they're big birds. They are North America's heaviest flying bird. They can weigh over 26 pounds. So they're big birds. They also have the largest wingspan of any water bird in North America. So I'm going to need some volunteers. Come on up. Come on up. Since you're here, I'm going to hand you that hold right there. Back it. Come on around. You guys want to grab on in here? You guys can grab on in the middle there. Duck under. Yeah, there we go. Come on this side. You guys can grab on.
Ya está colgando.
응.
68 inches. This is North America's largest waterfowl. And they are huge birds. Thank you guys very much. Well done. So they're very big birds. To
좋았다.
fly,
누나 줘.
they need a lot of space to take off because they're big, they're heavy. So they like our quiet water areas. When they nest, when they hatch out their babies, those babies are born gray. Their feathers are all gray. By the time they're a year old, they molt or shed those feathers, and the new feathers come in white. So you can tell a baby cygnet or a baby swan because it's gray. And then when they grow up, they're white. These guys can be found on Jackson Lake, sometimes on Jenny Lake or Lee Lake. Most often, we see them just outside of the town of Jackson on the National Elk Refuge. There's always a few hanging out in those big open water areas there. Not only do we have North America's largest waterfowl, we also have North America's tallest owl. So how tall is the tallest owl? About like this, 33 inches from the top of his head to the tip of his tail feathers. They've got a 60-inch wingspan or 5-foot wingspan. They are big birds. They're called the great gray owl. Mostly gray, really pretty, with a little white bow tie on her chin. Great gray owls are very big birds, but they don't weigh very much. In fact, they're mostly feathers. Great horned owls are smaller, but they weigh more. So these guys, this is their body outline, everything else is feathers. They eat smaller things because they're smaller birds on the inside. They're going to be eating mice and moles. They're going to eat sometimes squirrels, but mostly smaller animals. And they hunt daytime. So they live in our forests. They hunt anytime on the edge of the forest, especially when they're nesting. Quite often, we have a pair that nests down along the Moose Wilson Road, and they will come out and hunt kind of throughout the day. Morning and evening are best, but they'll hunt throughout the day. And they're pretty easy to spot because they are such big birds. One thing to know about this Moose Wilson Road, you cannot make it if you are in an RV or a trailer, so don't even try. It is close to those vehicles. Also, there is a 1.8-mile stretch of road that is unpaved and very, very bumpy. So please be aware of that if you head down Moose Wilson Road to look for our great gray owls. So we have a list here, but our list is empty. Where does our black-billed magpie go? What do they do? They cough up pellets. Stick that one right there. What about our trumpeter swan? Songbird? No, not songbird. Largest wingspan. And the bird we just talked about, the great gray owl. Yes. Largest owl. We're going to move to my favorite sign of spring, the mountain bluebird. These are very flashy birds. The males will be varying shades of blue on the wings. They can even be this bright or brighter. Females will be mostly gray with a little bit of blue on the wings. And these guys live on our ecotones. They live on the borders of our habitats. So they're going to be on the edges of sagebrush and forest or sagebrush and wetlands. They love to eat insects. They'll eat seeds and grasses as well, but they prefer insects. And their favorite food is spiders. They love spiders. In fact, in the spring,
거미 좋아한대, 거미. 거미 먹는 거 좋아한대, 새고.
along our windowsills here, pulling spiders off the web. They love spiders. The female takes care of the eggs, she raises the babies, and the male will feed her while she's doing that. So he'll fly around, he'll come back, he'll perch next to her, and if she's hungry, she takes the wing on the other side, gives it a flick, and that lets him know, hey, I'm hungry. And he'll fly off, find our spider if he can, and bring it back and feed her while she's taking care of the babies. These guys, like I said, love the edges of our habitats, and they love to hang out around Mormon Row where the molten barns are. Those are the barns, one of them is in the middle picture on the right side of our bulletin board over there. They love to hang out there because there's a lot for them to eat there, and some good places for them to nest. One thing to know about heading out along Antelope Flats Grill Lot Loop towards Mormon Row is that right out here, we have a spot where the river tried to eat our road. That happened this spring. It is down to one lane of traffic, alternating directions, so there is a stoplight there. You gotta wait a little bit, and then you can go. If you're on a bicycle, you have to obey the stoplight, and no matter what you see on that one-way stretch of road, even if it's a moose doing a jig, you cannot stop, because there's nowhere else for other people to go. So you've gotta drive all the way through that stretch right there. So what is our highest habitat in Grand Teton? Anybody know? The tallest one, yeah? Mountains. Our Grand Teton, our alpine habitat. We do have birds that live in our alpine habitat in the summertime. These are called rosy finches. In the winter, they're down on the valley. In the summer, they're up in the mountains. We've got the black rosy finch, which is the picture that's being passed around. We've also got the gray-crowned rosy finch, so we've got two different colors. These guys eat berries, seeds, grasses, sometimes insects, but mostly seeds. They'll come down to the valley in the winter, they'll eat from bird feeders. But in the summer, they're up in the mountains, and they like to make their nests in places that are hard to reach. So we don't know a lot about how they nest, what they do in their nests, because they like to make their nests tucked under glaciers or in cliffs, in the middle of rock fields. They're very good at hiding those nests, so we don't know much about how they nest. But we do know that they come up to our highest environments in the summertime, way up in our mountains. So if you're looking for a rosy finch, way up here is your best bet. Another option is to take the tram from Teton Village to the top, or take the steep and windy Teton paths over the Teton Mountains and maybe see one there. But they're hard to spot because they hide really, really well. Has anybody seen bison yet? Yeah? Anybody seen birds hanging out with the bison? Yeah? We have brown-headed cowbirds that love to hang out with our bison. We'll pass those around. Brown-headed cowbirds are interesting birds. They've adapted to feeding along with the bison. So if you're a slug and you're sitting on the grass and you see this giant bison mouth coming down to eat the grass, what are you going to do? If you're about to get eaten by a bison, what do you do? Hop away, stay away, fly away. You get away from that giant mouth. Well, our brown-headed cowbirds know that. And so they'll wait till the bison are grazing, and they'll come and pick up all of those bugs that are trying to get away. So they're going to eat that way. They'll also eat seeds, and sometimes they'll pick bugs off of the bison's fur, but right over here we have a bison skin, bison fur. If you dig your fingers in that, they never really get worse. It's really hard to get bugs from that fur. Most often they're going to eat around the bison mouth, around where the bison are eating. That's not the only thing they do that's kind of different. They also are brood parasites. So they don't make nests and they don't raise their babies. Instead, they will sneak into another bird's nest, lay an egg, and take off. And hope that that other bird will raise their baby. And they do that all summer long. So they're going to be sneaking in and laying eggs all summer long in hopes that these other birds will raise their babies.
주고 와.
They can lay 3 dozen eggs in a summer. Most of our birds will do 2 eggs, or 4, sometimes 5 or 6. But these guys
안 맞았어?
3 dozen eggs in a summer because they're not raising their own babies. Attention every now and then. So this year, we are towards the end of a 4-year project to reading the visitor areas at Jenny. When it's done, it will be beautiful. But right now, there are no flush toilets. There is parking, which is typically full between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. And there are some